See the audience interaction section of the MistHeroes.com. Hello and welcome to Heroes of the Mist. I'm your host and Game Master Hawk Robinson. Sorry for the delay getting started. We overhauled a lot of the wiring in here because we had a lot of cables running on the floor and all over the place. And in cleaning up the process, not surprisingly, it wreaked havoc with the rest of the equipment and the drivers, especially Windows. Anyway, it looks like we're back up and running, hopefully for the moment. Make sure the sound's actually working there, Dan. And so let's get right into the adventure as quickly as possible since we're at a 45-minute late start here. First of all, of course, introduce yourselves. And, of course, John, you're playing multiple roles tonight.
I'm John Welker with personality issues. I am playing Lindale Stellifolium, the High Elf Bard. And I am substituting for Farhad Guerion, the
Normally played by
half-elf fighter thief, normally played by Joe,
who is not with us today because he's teaching a class for Jet City Improv in Seattle.
I will be running the statistics for River. She is on the phone. Oh, she's on the
Jet City remoting, yeah.
So you're basically playing her body. She's playing her brain.
So Dan, you know that the TV for the way you have the, or we have the thing here right now, they can't see River on the screen. It's not mirroring the desktop to the big monitor at the moment. And that's not critical at the moment, but just so you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this is my mini.
You're a musketeer.
I'm Adam. I'll be playing Remus. Not Remus, no. Torn. Never mind. Torn Remus Whitley, who is a scout from the mountains and is here on a quest for adventure to become a knight, which is a lot harder than he thought it'd be.
I'm Katie Coonan. I'm playing Moisha Turtlebaum. Moisha is a dwarf from a tailoring background. He went adventuring to impress his lady love, and adventuring wasn't supposed to be so ugly.
That's two of you saying it's harder than you expected.
It's supposed to be glorious. There's no glory in adventuring.
Some people call me the Space Cowboy. Some call me the Gangster of Love.
Woo! Woo!
Some people call me Maurice.
Or you can call you Clive, or you can call you Snide, or you can call you Jive.
Call me late for dinner.
But no, my name is Andrew, and I am playing Talk, who is a gnome illusionist who fancies himself the next David Copperfield of this realm, in an effort to discover more of his mysterious past. He's got a little bit of a Celtic lilt to his voice, and he's mostly a good guy, but he occasionally lacks in the social skills, and can be a little bit abrupt.
Lillian?
Yeah, I'm Lillian. I was gifted this wonderful voice by one of my students. I will be playing.
We lost her.
No!
That wasn't us.
Let's try refreshing the browser. Might be on her end.
Is our screen supposed to be useful for anything?
It will, when we get it all tweaked. You'll be able to see Lillian. But we're still working on stuff.
You just had an effect on something on the screen, just so you know. I saw something twitch.
Yeah. It's pure as Tourette's.
I'm gonna click the button. I want you guys to tell me what number you see.
3.
Thank you.
2.
There's Lillian.
She's
Hi.
back!
Okay, pick up where you left off. You
Okay.
student gave you this wonderful voice.
Yes, he did. It was fantastic.
I don't think it's that
Best
bad.
gift ever.
You got kind of a femme fatale type thing
Yeah,
going on now.
husky voice going there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. We can see people.
Yeah, so I'm playing River, and she's a sea spirit folk, Wujen, martial artist who follows Ryujin in the Blood of the Sea. Yeah.
Did we lose her again?
No, she's here.
No,
Oh.
I needed to cough, and I didn't feel like coughing into my microphone.
Okay.
I thought that'd
Lightness
be
thing.
appreciated.
It is.
Yeah, so
Recording.
she's here sort of to prove herself.
So are we ready to go, huh?
Okay. And then we have behind the scenes Dan struggling with the equipment here, trying to get it to be beaten into shape. And then remotely we have Pyro helping with the moderating. And then, of course, audience who are tuned in. If you are are we actually streaming?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, I just got to refresh my browser. So, if you're actually watching the stream while it's live, when you're in the Twitch chat room, you gain hero points. You can gain additional hero points by donating to us, first and foremost, which is one of the reasons for the show, besides just having a good time. And, for example, Papa Voodoo donated a book and such, a gaming book, and so he got a bunch of bonus hero points. Or say nice things about us on Twitch, or on Twitter and Facebook and such, and letting the moderator know, and then give you bonus hero points that way. And then you can spend these points. You can go to mistheroes.com, and under Audience Interaction, you can see a little catalog that you can spend these points on, and have a nearly real-time effect on the adventure.
How much if they start a grassroots door-to-door program that goes from city to city?
And accomplishes what?
Advertising, telling people about this.
If you can
Knock yourself out.
all the hero points. I should get at least 1,000 for saying nice things online.
Yeah, if you get a lot of people coming in saying, Andy sent me, that should be worth some bonus hero points. I could see that.
How many hero points
Yeah.
does it take to raise my ability scores?
I'm planning on having a million role player march,
Okay.
It'll be a big
So, anyway, when we were last week, you guys were in the Drayagita, the Druid's Gate. You were there during the fall festival. First day was a lot of fun and eventful, and interesting things happened. The second night, however, things went awry. Something went wrong with the Fae. The Druids were very concerned, as were some of the Fae who had come through the previous night. Something is wrong in the land of Fae.
total fail.
Yes. And so they terminated. They did not have their third day of the Fae celebration, and they did not do the full week of their normal celebration. They instead opened the gates, and basically, if you weren't a druid and part of the group there, they asked you to leave out into a nasty, full-blown blizzard. There were some other people there that you didn't realize were not druids, who actually were heading south as well, some North Ronders and such that before, since they were in robes, you didn't know they weren't druids.
Deserters.
Which that was some people believe that they were deserters. And but meanwhile, the rest of you headed through the north gate, straight into the blizzard, because it was a nice climate-controlled environment between the gates. But once you stepped out, full-blown, in-your-face weather. Now, remember, we had a visiting player up from Brazil, Dan Aguilar, was up here, staying up here for about a week. He's one of our volunteers. And he came from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Says it normally doesn't get below 50 degrees. That's about winter for them. So he was up here during it's been like 20, 30 degrees below normal here, Fahrenheit. We've been really low teens and even single digits and wind chill
With
negative.
nearly record-breaking
Yeah, cold.
we
amounts
had-
of snow.
We had a wind chill.
Good amount of snow, yeah.
We had a wind chill warning yesterday that brought it down to, with the wind chill, -10.
Yep. I've been much worse on a motorcycle because I'm stupid that way.
And I know the Tri-Cities broke their all-time
school?
record for most snow in February.
Yeah, but nothing like Snowzilla years ago. But anyway,
yes.
6 feet in 6 weeks
Well, in February.
for
It's
February,
the
but
most we've
Snowzilla
had
was
in a
December,
century.
January. Okay. Anyway, so Dan was up here during that, so he pretty much stayed bundled the whole time. And we got a little bit of a blizzard and wind and snow in his face shortly after we described when we wrapped up Sunday's session. So, because when we went out to different things, so he got to experience what that weather was like, and he's like, "Oh, now I understand what you were describing Sunday." He had lived it before. So yeah, you guys
It's so
walked out
adorable
into
seeing
whiteout
Southerners
conditions.
go through their first northern winter.
So you walked out into this blizzard, whiteout conditions. You could barely see each other through the snow. It was already a couple of feet of snow with drifting, and your horses were just trudging through, blasted from the north, just bitter cold. And that's what you guys were wading into. You traveled through the day with this misery. Your animals, not happy, and you guys just tucking down as low as you could. And towards evening, you walked into a bubble where all of a sudden the snow stopped. You could still see the snow around, but from where you were to a few hundred feet ahead of you, there was no snow. You could see the snow outside of it. And there was a figure sitting on a stone there, leaning on what looks like a staff with a heavy cloak and a long beard and such. And that was, I believe, where we left it at last
Yes.
week. So you guys have come into this. It's a nice temperate, about 60 degrees as you walk into this, and the wind has stopped completely. There's no bird sound, no insect sound, just quiet. You can hear the clop clop of your hooves and such.
I imagine we're all a little bit
Grateful.
grateful, but also a little bit suspicious. I mean, the last time we experienced this sort of thing, we met Alvi,
Yep.
and various people turned into various degrees of fish.
Now, I still have notes from your watch from way back when, but it looks like I lost your marching order. So what is your marching order on this road?
Moisha is first.
It's wide enough for you to be 4 across if you don't want anybody to be able to go the other way. Okay, so Moisha's in the lead,
Yeah.
scouting at usually about 100 feet ahead.
Yeah.
So you came into this first. What did you do when you first came into it?
Stopped.
Okay, waited for the others.
Waited for
Okay.
them to use my negotiation power.
So who's after Moisha?
Usually Farhad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Farhad and somebody alongside him. Who was alongside
I'm going to
Farhad?
be alongside Farhad.
What's that? You will?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we usually
Okay.
have
One side
one.
Farhad, one side Legionnaire. If you whether who would probably end up being.
Oh, goodness.
Because Legionnaire and Karn will be behind Farhad. Because
Yeah, they'll be behind you guys. That's fine. Trinera and Karn.
Having an elf-to-elf conversation with Farhad.
Okay, and then
Torn's probably just going to be right off to the side and behind a little ways from Karn and Gennaro.
okay,
And where you guys want to be?
and you got the extra pack horse.
Like
Yeah.
right,
Mule.
Trailing behind me. You got just something.
right behind Lady Gennaro.
Okay,
Okay. And River, where would you be in all this?
I think usually I'm in the back.
Okay.
so are you behind Talk?
I'll be next to Talk.
Next to Talk, so kind of third across? Like between
Yeah.
Torn and Talk, or to the right of Talk?
Torrin's in front of me to.
Oh,
the-
you're behind. Okay.
Yeah.
So Torn, then Talk, and River alongside.
And where are the other pack? River had the other pack animal?
Do
Yeah,
you?
I think I did at one point. I can do that again.
Okay, which one?
I have my pet animal.
Oh, you have a pack animal too? Okay.
Yes. Mine's a pony.
Okay, I need to know who has what.
Alright then. Torn will be riding Leon, and he'd probably have Dobson with him,
Okay.
kneeling back,
All right.
and that would give you Alcin, whoever that North Wanderer pack horse was. That written down somewhere. Alcin, yep,
Was it?
Alcin, North Wanderer pack horse.
Okay.
Moisha is on Hassefeld and
Okay.
has Herschel and Levi. Herschel striding beside him and Levi probably around his neck.
It's funny. The last two groups really have ended up with the group before you, and then this group both have kind of ended up with an animal menagerie. Made sense with the other one because two of them were beast masters,
Okay.
so they had like a huge menagerie of animals. But you guys are working on it.
How many horses do we have total?
Ours kind of
in our party?
evolved naturally.
One,
You know.
That's what
three,
happens.
four,
They
five,
didn't
six,
start that
seven,
way
eight,
either.
9, 10, 11 horses.
Yep. Well, got a long journey.
Wait, we have 11 horses? Oh, because people are
What you're
riding
riding?
horses?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all riding horses.
Yeah, you're
and
all
you're
on
riding.
horses, and you got extra pack
So
horses.
do you have a
Mules
have
and
a second,
such.
a second horse?
No,
type thing?
I
Okay.
don't.
Then we have 10.
No, I have, well, it's a pony with all
Yeah,
the
you're
gear
riding.
on it.
You're riding it though, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to keep up with the party if I don't.
Yeah, no, you have to. All right.
Yeah, we're only putting horses on there
I
if they're
wasn't-
pack horses, because we can't have our figures can't be on horses.
Yeah. There are some minis that let you do that. They have a flat
Yeah.
platform, let you set them on there.
I know,
We're
but we
working
don't
at some
have those
paper minis, and so.
Right now.
All right, so now we've got the marching order. So you guys all, one group by group, come on in to this eye of the storm, kind of. Moisha, what do you do now that everybody's here? Farhad and Lindale are behind you.
Does someone more well spoken than me want to go
I will gladly
talk
do
to the
this.
fellow up there? I do not have a gift of gab.
Hail and well met, grandfather. It is good to see you on this road.
So calling across the 100 or so feet.
Yes.
'Kay.
So he doesn't get started when I walk
Okay.
right
And there is plenty of snow between here, and you see no footsteps in the snow of any kind, either leading to where he is or between you and him. So you
So-
call out to him, and you just see a nod of the head,
May we
in the
approach?
heavy cloak. Just another nod of the head.
I dismount since he's dismounted.
Yep, he's just sitting on a large stone right at the edge of the trees on the west side of the road.
So he'd be over this way then. Somewhere over here.
Here, use this loose die.
Sure, whatever. There's no weapon seen. He's just a heavy fur cloak. Yeah.
Not like it really matters for the
What
guest
is
there.
But just so that people don't misinterpret.
We have that one Ronnie guy with us that are
Dan's character.
yes.
Yeah. So he's on a horse. We'll have him taking up the rear
Okay.
because you need some muscle in the back.
Alright, he's just a big fighter.
Do we know what name we gave him?
Claws.
Plus, there it is. Yep.
My first convert. Tail cord.
Where's
Yeah, but he
Cossack?
wants to. But he wants to cause a schism in the religion. He wants it to be emotional strength rather than physical strength.
Emotional strength on top of physical strength.
Yeah. He wants a well-rounded
Anyway.
individual.
All right. So you approach.
Yes.
Okay. So do you approach on horse or get off the horse?
No, I got off the horse.
Okay.
'Cause He's
2
not
feet of
mounted.
snow.
Snowshoes.
All right. Put on the snowshoes. Okay. What's Farhad doing?
Farhad is being suspicious and trying not to show it.
Farhad suspicious?
You also probably approach because that's what Farhad did.
Yeah.
Well, he says Farhad should greet any travelers with the assumption that they are friendly and that we can get along or help each other. If any, let's see. Yeah, that's what he said. That's what Joe said from today's email.
Okay, well then Farhad will approach with me.
Okay, does he have snowshoes or is he going to just
We all
trudge
have-
through
we
the
all have
snow?
snowshoes.
Okay, all right,
And his horse is kicking.
all right. So you leave your horses behind and trudge across the snow. Takes a little while to get there. Snowshoes are not very fast.
I have a couple ping pong paddles strapped to my feet. Because he's a gnome.
So, anyway, you trudge across. You're getting closer to the figure. How close do you want to get? Are you close talkers? Or far talkers?
10 feet, so there's a 5-foot gap between us.
All right.
Farhad's always been kind of like friendly, but
Okay.
doesn't get. I don't think he usually gets too
Okay.
close until.
All right. So you stop about 10 feet away.
Yep.
Okay.
And, observe my environment, observe him, see if I see anything unusual around him.
No footsteps in the snow,
Okay.
except just where his feet are in the snow.
Plus the fact that he's in the center of this perfect bubble of nice weather.
But fresh, untouched snow all around him. It doesn't look like he walked around the rock or anything. You don't see any tracks to where he is.
Have you been here long, grandfather?
Nod of the head.
And I see that the weather favors you.
Another nod of the head.
Do you have any news of the road ahead?
Nod of the head.
Would you gladly share news with us? We can tell you of the south and you can tell us of the north.
Shake of the head.
You're not interested in the south?
Shake of the head.
Are you interested in telling us of the north?
Shake of the head.
Not to be rude, grandfather, but are you able to speak? Or do you just choose not to? You
Nod of
choose
the
not
head.
to. I
Nod of the
respect
head.
your decisions in life. I say aside to Farhad, always treat your elders with respect. Though then again, I'm probably older than he is. Assumptions.
Did you say that out loud?
Like under my breath.
Okay. Shake of the head.
Oh. I'm 500. You're older than that?
Nod of the head.
He doesn't have one eye, does he?
You can't tell.
At 10 feet apart, he didn't say anything, so I'm assuming I can't see that either. Too much
Yeah, no,
cloak.
big gap, big heavy cloak. Yeah.
Well, if you do not want to share news and you're not interested in news, do you mind if we share the space to camp?
Shake of the head.
You do not mind. I'm very grateful for that.
Nod of the head.
Well, I will just call my friends. Are you hungry? Thirsty? We can have... No?
Shake of the head.
Is there anything we can do for you, grandfather?
Nod of the head.
And what, pray tell, would be a boon to you?
Shake of the head.
You don't know?
Shake of the head.
You don't know.
Shake of the head.
Oh, you do know, but you're not saying.
Nod of the head.
But you don't want food, water, or shelter?
Nod of the head.
Where's that trick question? I pay that when you're going to town.
Yeah. No, the answer isn't beer. You always say beer. Well, grandfather, if we have the time, I guess we will set up camp and determine what we can do to help you as we go along.
And then he fades and disappears with just footprints in the snow where he was standing.
So is anyone else really worried about that?
So you guys all saw him just suddenly fade away. All you saw him was doing this and this and this and
Did
this.
the weather change when he disappeared?
Nope.
Well, that's a good sign.
All right. Hey, everybody, let's set up camp in here.
And you do see at the stone off to the side there is actually the way the trees kind of arch over and such. The snow's a little thinner, and the trees are spaced out enough that you could actually camp between the trees and get out of the snow a little bit.
Can we put up our tent?
There's space in the trees
put
to
up
set
the
up
tent
to set up shelter. There's even a little fire ring, actually a good sized fire ring. with a lot of piles of chopped wood. It looks like freshly chopped. And there's also a freshwater spring that's not quite frozen over. It's a little iced over, but not completely frozen over, bubbling down into the trees. And about 30 feet from that, a steaming hot water pool of this kind of bright green, large enough that a large person could wade into it, and it's steaming hot.
Oh, clearly we're doomed. We've never been this lucky before. Except with that ambush cavern.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice cavern.
Water,
Remember that one
like,
time we found out there was
It's a little
a
sulfurous and
Canyon.
such,
Salt
but
mineral
not, yeah,
bath,
it's
okay.
a mineral bath, but it's a hot water.
So-
not hot enough to take your skin off or anything, but it'll make you warm. It's a hot spring,
Bathing, yes. Drinking,
but only
no.
20 feet away from a cold spring.
That
Which
sounds
is
perfectly
perfect.
natural. So,
Yeah, not what you usually see.
so we're not going to be worried about the ghost? 'Cause
Ghosts? That.
Oh,
Who has time to be worried about a ghost?
I'm actually worried about all of this. Actually, I mean, I'd almost rather be in the blizzard, but we'll take what we got here and see what horrible.
I'm so
fate
tempted to have a
awaits
big
us.
booming voice say, "That could be arranged."
And so I'm.
We'll see what horrible fate awaits us in this wonderful camp.
You're not traumatized at all. All
I
right.
finally get to put up the tent.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Torn is overjoyed to get this tent off and put it off. It's like, y'all start clearing out the snow.
How big did we say
Like
that?
a 10-man tent.
Nice.
Well, it'll be a little crammed, but against the trees, it'll be like up against some of the trees, but you
Yes.
can squeeze it in some of the space there.
Moisha will assist.
Rope use.
Yeah. It'll take a while to set up.
It takes D6 turns.
Okay.
And half of that because of rope use. And then,
Cool.
Yeah.
Roll a d6.
Well, is it less because he's got help? Because Moisha is helping?
I think it
Yeah.
assumes 2 people.
I mean, it's a
No,
10-person.
no, it's a one-person thing.
Really, d6 turns for 1 person.
Get wilderness survival. It breaks it down in there.
Your front door was
Let's
open.
not get hung up on what?
Your front door was open.
That might
As
have
in,
been
like, open, not
Oh,
just
that
a
might have
lock,
been me
open.
when I ran. Okay. Thanks for getting it. What'd you roll?
2, half that 1.
What are you rolling for?
Setting up the tent.
Okay.
He's probably very motivated.
Yeah, it's still it's going to take you at least 15 minutes between the two of you, just
All right,
with the
then.
trees and everything.
Okay.
It's a
Torn,
challenge.
there's
Still a
still
little bit of snow.
In the car, I have a tent mini.
Oh, cool.
I'll get it out of break.
Yeah. Okay.
We might.
All right. So set up the tent. Moisha and Torn set up the tent. Talk. What are you doing?
Talk is unbundling his goose
Unbundling his goose.
and getting it down off the pony and
Wilderness survival.
Okay.
making sure she's fed and comfortable.
Okay. Keeps just staying really close to you, almost underfoot.
Although I did read that these particular geese are actually very hardy in winter.
Good.
So
You're gonna need it.
So so I'm giving it a little extra love because it's still growing, but
Mhm,
you know
mhm.
they can handle themselves pretty
Good,
well. They're
good.
They're,
Very cool.
they're northern goose.
River, what are you doing?
River will just help with setting up camp however she can.
Okay. You want to get the fire going, or who's doing the fire?
I can do the fire.
Oh, okay. You have fire.
Fire finger.
Oh, that'll work. But you can help him with setting it up and
Yeah,
such.
we'll get a nice
Yeah.
teepee
Okay.
stack.
All right, but yeah, because of the hot spring nearby, this whole area is just kind of a little bubble of warmth too, so it's not quite as chilly as the rest. What?
All right. Apparently, like the largest, best one in here is only a D4 plus 3 setup time. But what's
Plus
the,
3.
Yeah. So what's
Okay,
the,
so that means it's a minimum of 4 turns.
yeah. So how is this a large then? 10-man tent, or is it like a medium?
That's medium large.
Well, one
10
side-
man's pretty big. Otherwise, you're getting into a palisade type thing.
So then maybe
Oh, actually,
1d4
What's it
plus
say?
1.
according to this, the large is can
Two.
sleep 5 or 6 men if the group can store some of their gear outside.
So
the
this is
shelter.
extra
So
large.
that'd be an extra large. So call it a D6 plus
A D6 plus 4?
D6 plus 4. And
Yeah.
what quality we're going to call this?
The best.
Where did you get it?
We got off of the army that got smoted by on the
Okay,
East Road.
just average quality.
All right then. So
Yeah, we got it with the mule.
Good.
Yeah, just average quality. Okay, had to patch up a few holes in it.
Oh yeah. We actually did that same night.
Shrapnel,
Okay,
yeah. All right,
Moisha.
but you're setting that
was,
all up.
Working on that all night.
Great.
I believe.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't have a video of the map, or but that's okay.
We can try, see if it cooperates. The
I
cable's in the way of the camera.
So
You have to move that cable behind.
Let's don't
But-
chance it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look on the big camera there. Okay, so if you click on Lillian's thing just in Jitsi, so it shows the big picture.
less with motion size.
That way it won't mess with anything. We could fiddle with it during the break or something. All right. You guys get done setting up the tent.
Mhm.
Get the fire nice and going. Again, huge pile of freshly chopped dried wood. And nice hot spring, nice cold spring. What do you
Moisha
do?
wants to bathe.
Okay, you're gonna wade into the hot spring.
Yes.
All right, it is super hot. It's not gonna take your skin off, but it is very hot. So it's like ooh, 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 ooh.
No,
But you get it's nice and deep though.
and he'll get in and dunk
Yeah.
himself.
It is
and
a little
then-
sulfury, mineral smelling. but
Yes, and
yeah,
once he's dunked,
yeah, warms those cold bones and
no.
joints.
I don't know if he's got soap, but he'll wash himself as
I've
good as
got
he can, and then go
Okay.
rinse off in the cold
Well, he's just
spring.
scrub with snow. So okay,
Well, that's you wanted to go full Northrond
yep.
style. You'll brush yourself with
Dirt.
snow and pine needles, and then dive in the cold pool.
Yeah.
And
And then shatter. All right, it feels good though. Once your body adjusts to the heat, you just want to melt into it. It's very pleasant. Yes.
I
Mandalay.
do a druidic prayer
Okay.
to thank basically Mother Nature for the shelter
Mhm.
and what the gods have provided for us.
Okay. Torrent.
I get the tent set up and I take care of all the animals.
Okay. There's a good spot over a little ways away that seems excellent. There's even some green grass growing right where you want to tether the horses. Like thick
Perfect.
green grass just in that little spot there.
Man,
Just
Cork's
a,
giving that his
a
best
snack.
today. Praise Cork.
What's Farhad doing?
Farhad is making a saving throw versus illusion.
Okay.
Maybe.
Talk is secretly dreading that old man was Odin, and it wasn't too long ago that he helped trick an entire town into believing a very poorly designed image
Is this
of,
what I have? Thought you gave me more.
Gave you 3 pages.
of Odin. Although
Oh, it fell
we
behind.
were very clear that we were not making Odin, we were just making an Odin-like figure.
Totally different thing.
This is why you're paranoid that this is Odin.
Yes,
I'm
that's why.
trying to figure
That's
out what is triggering this Odin fear. An old man in the woods isn't necessarily Odin.
That's exactly what Odin would want you to believe.
If he disappears and can affect the weather, and he's in the area where
So
It's
is
safer
this your character having a conversation or something, or you
no,
just
no,
think
this
it's okay?
This is
All
just
right.
me sharing.
His
Okay.
thought process.
So,
sharing
Moisha,
the internal
you're done
monologue.
with your bath. Torin, you're taking care of the horses. River. River.
He, I think, fell off. Waiting for him to come back.
So
Maybe
save versus spell for
Okay.
I just did.
for illusions.
Yes.
Alright, and I need to roll higher than a 15.
Okay.
Is that I'm asking this.
Is it a 15?
15 is the score.
So 15 or higher.
Got it. 16.
Okay.
And that's Farhad, and whether or not Farhad mentions whether or not he believes or not, that's...
Doesn't seem to be any illusions at the moment.
Still too good to be true, but I'll believe it now. I guess I have to believe it.
It's working the cord. That's what.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, hey, you got a hot spring. That's got to be core.
Yeah.
Because
He's
it causes
the
you to
god
sweat.
of hot springs.
Well, you know, hot springs.
All right,
sauna.
so
Anything that causes you to
Moisha
sweat.
comes out of the hot spring just red as a lobster, if any of you have seen lobsters, and just steam just pouring off.
And then
You
he
look
goes
red as a
and-
boiled cave spider.
There you go.
Perhaps, but oh man, was that a good bath. But I'm now rinsing off the sulfurous residue.
Yeah,
I mean,
into the
Freya's
cold
in-
spring.
Goes into the cold.
With
Oh,
ice all around the edges.
Freya
Yeah,
is
you're okay
sleep-
for about the first 15 seconds because
Yeah.
you're so boiled. Yeah.
Freya is casually and playfully swimming around that pool with you, and
Freya's a little nervous of how hot it is. Yeah, kind of.
no.
The goose will be cooked.
Oh, the cold one.
In the cold
Okay,
one,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, she turned up her nose at the hot spring
yeah, you
because otherwise your
generally-
goose would be cooked.
Yeah, you generally want with waterfowl you want to feed them in the water because they don't
Helps them digest and
digest
such.
properly.
Yeah.
So I would have tossed her feed in the pool,
'Kay.
and she would have waited.
Okay.
in and-
You would have fed your goose while I'm bathing?
Yep.
Yeah.
What kind of a monster are you?
Actually,
gnomish monster.
I fed the goose while you were bathing in the other pool. So now
So
the goose
it's already in the water that you're
So-
wading
and now the
into,
goose-
While you were there.
and it's kind of looking at you. "Wah."
no.
Is the
No.
goose looking peckish?
Friend.
"Wah."
Moisha ignores him and dunks
Okay.
Her.
quick. Her,
'Kay.
excuse me.
All right. Yeah, because you don't want to be in there very long anyway, because it is cold. All right, you feel very refreshed and clean. Crisp and clean and no coffee. Is River back yet?
No.
Try refreshing the browser. Maybe on our end.
Have you bathed lately?
River, where have you gone?
Have we checked with the chat? Has Armageddon happened outside of this building? And
Yeah.
we're the
We're
only
the only
ones
survivors,
surviving?
yeah, because we're in the lee of the mountain here. All right. Interesting. Okay.
She's meditating.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Lindley.
Lindley is going to take this, what has got to be a unique opportunity, to see if he can find any useful herbs.
Go for it.
Herbalism is a 17 die roll required. It's a base chance of success of 17. What are the modifiers for that, for herbalism? Wisdom modifier? Anything?
Just roll and
A 9.
yeah. So it's like if we're not even close,
Yeah.
because you got to roll 17 or higher, right?
You know, I don't understand how that
There we
works.
go.
It just says base chance 17. My base chance for etiquette is a 16. My religion is a 12.
Okay. What are you reading this from?
That would
Is
be.
that Bard skills?
The survival guide.
She's back.
Oriental
Harris?
Adventures.
Oh, all right. Figure out which it is. I would think you'd need to roll that or higher, but double check.
River, are you done meditating?
Yeah, I am done meditating.
All right. What are you doing?
River.
What's River doing?
Oh, wait. Okay, so what's happening?
Moisha just took a bath.
Okay. It's a bit,
Yeah. Torrance taking care of the animals.
Linda Lay's looking for plants.
there's not much River can do. Right
So
now.
meditate?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody wants to do special for the night for camping, or we just want to get through this camping for the night quickly?
I want to make sure he has his little silver
Bullets.
Bullets?
He sets him around a little ring where he's going
Okay.
to curl up and sleep.
Okay.
Because ghost.
Yeah. Great.
I haven't actually met Lindalay.
Okay.
17 or higher.
Okay.
Most things I don't have to roll at all, but
Okay.
there's 2 things that I have to
Okay.
roll on.
Or the big dude.
Yep. Class. So
But,
play away.
So, you're joining us on this? How far will you be traveling with us?
Oh, I'll be traveling just as long as you tolerate me.
Klaus is doing one-handed chin-ups over by one of the trees
Hey, he's going.
Alright.
with just one finger.
Yeah, well, that's his stats.
18. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double up.
Well, my name's Talk, and that over there is my goose Freya. She's relatively new to the party.
Oh, very good, very. And I understand you're an entertainer as well.
Oh, you're an entertainer?
I am a bard. It is my primary duty, among my druidic as well.
Oh, that would explain the fashion sense.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm a fancy pants as well. Not quite as fancy pants.
Right now,
but-
neither one of us are fancy pants. We're wool and leather.
Yeah, but,
and fur.
but I can see little flashes of purple underneath.
Yeah.
I'm sure. You know, little collar popping out, or
Yes, I do appreciate the gnome with fashion. What your specialty is? What for entertaining? Are you a dancer?
I work with the arts of illusion,
Oh, an illusionist are you?
both magical and working on practical.
Oh, that's your domain. You to make cards and coins disappear and things like that.
For starters.
Excellent.
And what was your name?
Oh, I'm Lindale. Dale. Ah. Lindale.
Linda?
Lindale.
Linda
Yeah.
Lay.
Yeah, it's one word.
Okay. Okay. All right, Linda.
My last name is Stellafolium.
Oh, okay. So, Linda Lestafolium.
Lindale. Stellafolium.
Linda Lestafolium.
Lindale, one word. Lindale.
Linda Lestafolium.
Stellafolium.
Stellafolium.
Like Stellafolium.
Are you referencing something?
Just a.
Is that something from a play or something?
Of course.
Oh,
I was going to
I
say
haven't
dramedy.
I haven't seen many plays recently, so.
So when you work on your illusions on the stage, you normally do it with musical accompaniment or without?
Oh, it depends on what I've got. I've been working on training mostly.
Oh, getting your skills better. Well, when you're ready to go and actually show your work, it may be a good idea to have a bard such as myself provide the musical accompaniment.
Well, I'd be willing to discuss that. Unfortunately, on this particular journey, we haven't had much occasion for it. And when we've had occasion for it, we haven't had time for it.
So you're not exactly on tour at this moment, I understand.
We've cancelled a few performances.
Well, hopefully we'll have more peaceful times and we can do better shows.
Perhaps.
What's everybody else doing?
Bedding down for the night.
Is there any daylight
What time of day is it?
It's about an hour before dark.
Oh, okay.
Got lots of time.
Oh, we got lots of time.
Yeah.
I thought it was later.
I mean, you know.
Who's cooking dinner?
Yeah, I'll start working on dinner.
You okay?
Goose is not being served.
That's okay. How about fish? I have a hankering for fish.
That's all right.
You can try your luck in one of the pools.
What an excellent idea. So I will examine the pools to see if there's any possibility of fishing.
In the hot pool, no.
The gold pool?
Though downstream from the hot pool, if you follow it a little ways, you do see a number of various small shellfish and such, like rockfish and things like that.
Are they shellfish or rockfish?
Rockfish.
Okay, because
Rockfish are
I meant
dangerous.
rockfish.
okay, I was just
Aren't rockfish the ones with the little prickly prongs on them? And if I try to grab one, I'm going
They got little they're like little
Oh, those
lobster.
are blowfish.
wait.
They're I'm trying to remember what they're called.
Crawfish?
Crayfish.
Crayfish. Thank you.
Crayfish,
That's what I'm
okay.
looking for.
yeah, rockfish are like
I meant crayfish.
like koi,
Poisonous.
like
I
koi
meant
mixed with
crayfish.
catfish.
Yeah.
I meant crayfish.
Yeah, okay,
So-
crayfish.
Yeah.
Those are easy to catch.
Yeah, they're not very big. They're
Yeah.
like yay big, but
So
a
I'm
lot
going-
of them where the water
Crawdads.
gets cool enough. Yep.
I'm going to collect.
Get a heap back on a crawdad gumbo by golly.
You scared River away.
I was searching through the river looking for fish, and 3 of the party members left.
Okay. Yeah, there's like just scores and scores of them once you get to the right temperature combo there.
I'm going to gather up a feast worth.
Okay. You do. You get plenty of them.
That's
What,
gonna take
what do
a
you
while.
carry them in?
Well, I have a large sack.
There you go.
Let's put them in that.
Yep. There you go.
How solid is that stack? Because they've all got injured.
They do. They do indeed.
Hey, if
They're usually pretty heavy, thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you bring them on over to the fire,
Yep.
and what are you gonna do with them?
well, who's got a pot? Do I have a pot? I guess
Somebody
We all have
does.
pots.
We had a cooking pot. We
Yeah.
did.
Okay, so let's boil these things up.
Slash alarm. Gone.
Yeah.
With just a little splash of the salted
And you
water.
noticed over not far from the spring where the water was warm enough, a number of various root plants and others, the tufts sticking up that were green.
Okay. Using my agricultural and herbal lore, I
Mhm.
picked the best ones.
Yeah, carrots and potatoes and parsnips and radishes and just a whole slew of different things.
Gumbo!
Any
Yep.
tasty herbs?
Yep, fair number of good seasonings and such.
Didn't find
Everything
any
you could,
additional
everything you would
herbs?
need to make a nice little
Meal. Okay.
crawdad stew.
And
Right.
oddly enough, a piece of parchment with a recipe
Yeah.
for exactly all of those things.
When you bite into one, there's a little bit of that sulfur bite to them. There's a little bit of
Nothing wrong
a
with
bite to them, but it's not overpowering.
Just like it's even salted.
No.
It's a little smoky.
Sulfur, no.
Oh, I got some.
Oh, perfect. Well, then
like a little bit of Himalayan salt.
I
I've
use too
got some
much.
of that at home.
It's me too. Hey, ghosts.
Oh, yes. So you don't well. All right. And just in case, I don't know how long we want to spend on this, but when it is done, I am going to take a little bit of it and pour it on the ground and say thank you, grandfather, and any spirits who are listening.
Okay. Meanwhile, he's doing. It's gonna take a while to cook up the crawdad stew.
Yeah, a couple hours.
What's Torin doing?
Back
But
to
wonderful
woodland.
smells. Back to what?
Woodland.
Okay. Great. Excellent wood around here for Whitland.
Right then.
What are you gonna make?
I gotta make up more caltrops.
Okay.
And then I'll probably just get a couple of like nice pieces that could be used for, I don't know, something small, whistles or
Okay.
things there.
All right.
So we're sitting down a
Moisture.
fire with a pot of crawfish and whittling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we in the right right region?
And I'm whistling, by the
Did
way.
we,
Moisha?
did we get really lost and end up?
Torin,
Yeah.
did you take care of all the horses, or do I need to go take care of Hasselfeld,
Which one's house called you?
my horse?
Okay. I said I took care of all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Horses are all taken care
Thank
of and
you
happy.
very much.
So
So
no worries.
Moisha then takes off Herschel's leather jacket and brushes him down and lets him be free of that constraint.
And Dan, we'll take a break at 8 since we started so late.
Okay.
We'll take a short break at 8. Okay, great. Talk.
So we'll have a late break at 8.
Yeah.
Doc will be setting up his bedroll and stuff
In the tent?
and making a little
I want to verify in the tent, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
and making a little bedroll nest for Freya.
Okay. All right.
Farhad is going to use some of the grasses and reeds around and weave a basket to put in any extra.
Twiddle his thumbs and toes.
Well, he's a weaver,
Yes.
so I figure he's going to weave a basket to put the extra potatoes and carrots and things in for the rest of the trip.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him something to do
Sure. Sure.
besides
All right.
harass River for
Or Karn.
stories.
Put ask Karn. All right.
Well, Karn could be useful, but then
I mean, did you ever get that contract negotiated?
Which one?
Oh, he's gonna have
Got a
Farhad
contract
start a
to join the party.
contract for enjoying the party.
Oh, right.
it was the perfect.
Let's wait till
contract.
Joe's around for that.
Oh, it was
We got a
such
conflict of interest right now on that.
We'll retcon that later.
Yeah. So, River.
River is just going to be watching Wendele and probably Klaus, because she doesn't know them. And
Yep. Klaus is over in the.
Strange to her.
Klaus is now naked in the hot spring.
yeah, they're very strange to her.
Okay.
And so she'll
Well-
probably be interested in Wendele's cooking.
Okay. Yeah, it smells good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So it's uneventful. Again, strange. You hear no insect sounds or animal. I mean, the cold and stuff, but no bird sounds, no insect sounds, no squirrels, nothing. You haven't seen a single animal or insect.
Except the crayfish.
Well, yeah. I mean, in the water, but outside the water, you haven't heard anything.
no rabbits or
Nothing in the
Right.
trees, nothing out on the ground. Yeah, just in the water. So it's very eerily quiet. But the stew is smelling increasingly more appetizing as the herbs get nice and baked into with the rest of it, and all of your stomachs start to grumble from the smells wafting over. Klaus finishes hanging out in the hot tub and jumps into the cold spring, just runs over there naked and jumps on in and stays in there for actually quite a while before he comes out and looking a little blue, and then runs over and dries off and gathers up his stuff. Doesn't really seem to think twice that he's running around from one end of camp to the other naked, and not sure if River or anybody else is wanting to scold him or just not worry about it or whatever.
River is tactfully ignoring Klaus.
Staring into the fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so he comes up now in his gear, his lighter gear, and plops on down and looks around and smells good. What's you make? It smells like
Crawfish.
crawfish. Ah, stew. You had all fixings for this.
Yes. And
Oh,
all the good stuff is there.
it smells good. When will it be ready? It's about half an hour.
About a half an hour.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Little one,
I figure if he gets anything I haven't seen before.
you have what looks like one of our people's geese.
At 500.
Oh, you've had experience with the particular. I wasn't sure how common they were to North Ron. I wasn't sure if it was just that particular village or.
No, many of us use them.
Yes.
They're good in many ways, not just good eats, but their feathers are good for stuffing into blankets and pillows and clothing and such, and they guard well. They are fierce when in large groups.
Oh yes, we experienced their fierceness, and that's why I wanted one of my own.
No, who gave it to you?
The people of Kasarnak.
Karn then speaks to him in what you're guessing is Northron. Anybody here speak Northron? Okay, so he's like, oh, she's
Did
not
I
close.
collect
The rest,
Viking?
no, not even
Elf,
close.
halfling, goblin,
I just
half,
don't talk,
orcish,
it's not
gnoll,
Steve.
and common.
Yeah. So he speaks to him and he goes, oh, so they speak to each other in clearly Northron back and forth for about 30 seconds. And then they switch back to English.
It may be slightly xenophobic, but I am going to picture the Swedish chef.
Ja, it's good, Bergen, Bergen, Bergen.
Talk.
First you take the curdage, and then you put them in your purge.
Okay.
Talk. Could I request a boon of you?
A boon, you say?
Yes. If your goose happens to lose any good feathers, opinions, etc., I could always use more quills.
Oh, perhaps I'll keep an eye out. She's still growing, so
Mostly downy at this point.
yes. She's adolescent, so she's
A mixture.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So finally, the stew is. You taste it, and it seems ready to serve. You made enough to serve everybody a few times over.
Nobody's going hungry tonight.
Nope. Who do you serve first?
Lady Genera.
Okay.
And not the gods.
He already did that. He already
made
did that.
as a-
Okay.
Yeah, he said he was going to make sure he did that.
I did the libations
Yep.
first, and
The
then
offerings,
after
yeah.
that, as
So
humans
Genera
go,
gratefully accepts.
Then River,
Okay.
then Farhad,
Okay.
then Moisha,
Okay.
then Talk,
Klaus is like leaning over, salivating.
Torin. Then, of course, because he definitely outranks him, it will be Carr, then Klaus. Oh, and a little for the dog.
Thank you.
Herschel's very happy about that.
Yeah.
Little sniffing at first, going, "What is this?" And
Man,
then,
I never had elf cooking before.
I don't, what are your little
My ferret?
yeah,
Levi?
what does he eat?
I'll-
Whatever he can get his hands
Whatever
on.
he can get his hands on.
So
you know, if he-
share some of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He may have already caught himself a rock
Yeah.
earlier.
All right, it's quite
I
tasty.
think they eat
Nicely done.
bugs and small plants.
Nicely done. Nicely
Probably
cooked,
done
just
crawdad.
right. Thick with a lot of crawdad meat. So good stew. River, you've not quite had that particular kind of stew before, but it's actually pretty tasty. So, if nothing else, he seems to be able to cook.
I'm useful.
Hooray!
Anything you guys want to discuss amongst yourselves while you're eating, or shall we get to yes?
Torn's going to wonder how that goose got so big from being an egg like a week ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's the legend of the goose god.
So Torn was asking.
So, that was an egg like 3 days ago. I mean, I'm pretty certain they're not supposed to be that big.
Well, they're Northrond geese.
I mean, yeah, sure, but aren't they supposed to be all like little cute, kind of like little chickens and ducks? When they come
I'm
out?
also not supposed to have a tan.
Well, I don't know. I figured maybe just change color.
What do you know?
While I was training with the master illusionist Tathar the Magnificent,
Magnificent. Actually, you're supposed to be the one doing that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be trained to do that. Echo
But-
cantrip,
but-
echo
but
cantrip,
you
echo
have such,
cantrip.
you just have such a look of joy on your face when you do it, so
Hey,
I'm just gonna let you keep doing it.
Tanar the Magnificent?
Magnificent.
No, Tathar
Oh,
the
Tathar.
Magnificent.
Okay, Tathar the Magnificent. Got it. Does anyone else hear that?
Yeah, it's almost as if every time you say magnificent. No, okay. Oh, maybe you have to say the whole name. Tathar the Magnificent.
Magnificent.
Is he listening in on you? Does he spy on you? Is this how he knows to say the echo of Tathar the Magnificent?
Magnificent.
I think it's a spell on the phrase.
Wait, can
But-
you do that?
Regardless,
No, I heard about this. It's like when you go out and you look in between two mirrors at midnight and you say, like, Bloody Mary 3 times, she shows up and murders y'all. Yeah, like that.
So we
often have
should
you done
stop
that?
saying to the bar the magnificent, shouldn't we?
Magnificent, magnificent.
Because if we say it one more time, he will be here.
Well,
I don't think it works that way. At least I hope not.
you see, I've never done it on account I don't want to get murdered by some sort of bloody ghost with, an old butcher's knife.
But there really is an echo every time you say his full title like that, and it's ever since you met him that has been happening.
I think the spell is on you.
He's been slowly researching, trying to figure out how that spell works so he can do it for himself.
Yeah.
Once he gets himself a good name.
Yeah.
A good adjective name. He hasn't quite figured that out yet.
Talk the short.
Talk
Short.
the terrific. No, that's not quite.
Talk the mostly telling.
Talk the better than average.
And in order to properly train me in that short period of time to the next step of my illusionist training, he utilized magics to travel between worlds through space and time, I believe. Basically, you had like 2 days, and I had a lot more.
Did you have to walk through a blue box?
No, it was a blue kind of glowing oval, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been at least a few weeks.
It's going to be green.
I know I was there long enough to get my
She
hair
doesn't have a
cut
full green
twice.
screen behind her.
Did you meet a Vulcan
Yeah.
as you were walking
That's
through
okay.
the archway of time?
Let's stay in this
What?
world.
Isn't that
Now,
some-
River,
that's
you're
some
hearing
sort
this
of,
conversation, right?
River's not here.
Oh, she fell out again?
Yeah.
Oh, we need her for this conversation. This is exactly when...
isn't
Refresh the browser? Is that what's going on?
She keeps on falling back and out.
Is it her or us?
Isn't
I
that
think
some
it's her.
sort of god of fire and creation from the Grecos?
This is what I
I
want
believe?
River in this conversation. This is...
Wait, so magic can do that? Can you do that?
Yes, the Grecos
Not yet.
god
You can
of
learn to do
the
that.
Smiths.
No, Vulcan is Roman.
Well, Grecos. I figured.
So would that be Latinium then?
Yeah.
Okay, it's be a Latinium god.
Roll
Vulcan.
war.
I gotta roll lore here. Alright, and that's a percentage, I think.
Hey, you made the reference. Now you gotta back it up.
No, I don't have to back it up. I'm allowed to be wrong.
X% of the time.
Oh, currently 98.
98% of the time, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, 98% of the time you think you know what you're talking about. 2% of the time you know what you're talking about.
88% of the time, I'm just bluffing anyway.
Yeah.
66 out of 2% chance.
Okay. So bluff away.
That's just a know everything thing.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be comfortable thinking that he's Greek.
Okay.
Grecos. And then he is the god of the Smiths, which is related to the Cranberries. They're both bands.
So
And he's hot, understood.
So he's the god of Smith, Smith
Zombie in your head.
workers and also cranberry harvests.
Yes,
I
something
see.
like that. Yeah, I think we
What's
should.
going on with River's connection here?
Okay.
Hello, River.
Hi.
Just what we do.
Okay, because he's talking about time and space with his master and such.
Oh, yeah.
This is a perfect chance for River to have a conversation.
Yeah,
River
Torin
with a
just
mustache.
asked me about the goose, and I followed up with my tan, and then started explaining that that time went by a little bit longer for me.
Time and space are relative to the observer, which can.
Yeah, Torin would know that. Stay in character there.
Actually, Torin might, just because there might be some old folklore, like Rip Van Winkle. Or something.
Anyway.
Anyways, River then says, "Oh, I experienced something similar with
Oh yeah, we saw
training
each
with
other
my
in
master."
we saw each other in a marketplace in another dimension,
Oh yes, that too.
some other strange world.
Yes,
Aren't
your
you rather young for
master
dimensional travel?
Okay, one at a time, let her talk. What was that, River?
your master was interesting, to say the least.
Yes, a lot of things about that were interesting.
I mean, like, other than you can say Tathar the Magnificent.
Magnificent.
That
Magnificent.
happens.
Is that
Yes,
3 in a row?
Yes, beyond that.
So River, every time they say his full title, there's an echo. So it's not talk saying it. There is an actual echo every time his title is used. So, okay. Now, of course, you saw her there too, and you haven't. How much have you heard about her end of things?
Oh well, I just mentioned that,
Mhm.
and before she told me that she'd been there for a couple weeks. I think she specified, and I knew, and I told her that I'd been there longer,
Mm-hmm.
and it was long enough to have to cut my hair twice.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much all I know because, yeah,
Yeah, a lot of time went by.
and
And you're really sick of scrubbing and cleaning things.
Talk's turn to do dishes.
Time keeps on slipping.
Although at least the dishes here are far less scary to clean than what you had to clean.
actually, I believe from our tradition, isn't it that the second to newest member of the party prepares the food, and the newest member of the party does the cleaning.
Sounds fair.
And
Claus is just kind of looking around. Then he stops and does an assessment. Give me to me. Fine. That's fine. It's good food. What?
Yes, oh yeah.
Okay. He is eating vast quantities.
the key
To maintain that physique? Ooh, yes.
the key to making sure that he has the least cleaning to do is to eat the most, eat as much as possible, and then to be less to clean up.
All right. Anything that River and Talk want to talk about it from your experiences? Because you had quite the experiences. Whether or not you want to share that or not, that's up to you. But now that it's been opened up.
I have seen some things. I have seen some serious heskata.
Wait,
I've noticed that you've
What?
been quite different since your training.
Oh, I'm just a little bit paranoid when you're undergoing heavy training with a master who is very strict on discipline and could at any moment leap down upon you from the ceiling. It tends to put one a little on edge.
Or transport you back to his people on their island.
Bite your head off.
Yes,
Literally.
and also the constant potential threat of devouring me in 3 bites.
That must be uncomfortable.
I mean, I'm told they don't eat things that talk anymore, but
That was a tree.
but that doesn't mean they weren't thinking about it.
So, just to be clear, if you stop talking for too long, you're open game?
Talk never stops talking.
So talk is safe.
Oh, I stopped talking.
The talking was stopped by screams.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, it's Torin who never stops talking. Forgive me.
Hey, now I stop occasionally. Like that one time. You remember?
When you were a fish.
Excuse me.
When you were asleep,
Please forgive
when
me,
you were a
Tori.
fish, and when you were dead.
No, I sat and listened to my horse for like 20 whole minutes. That was hard.
You are going to tell this around the campfire the time that he was asleep, a fish, and dead.
Klaus is like, what?
Well, no, you know, the times he was asleep, he was just asleep. You know, this is normal sleep.
Yes.
But then he was a fish.
But did you put those three together?
It sounded like.
I think that's a normal everyday thing.
I mean,
Sleeping, fish, dead, daily routine.
So how
What?
often are
What?
you
What?
fish?
twice now?
You're a pisotropy.
What?
A pisotropy. A werefish.
A what? No, I wasn't bitten by a fish. They don't have teeth.
Some do.
Oh, they can bite depending on the fish.
What kind of fish are you?
Large? I don't know. I didn't see what I look like.
Is
That's
it
a fish.
full moon that
Did
you're-
River? Did you see him when he was a fish?
Yes, I think I did.
Basically,
Sometimes she saw.
yeah. Basically, they're just giant koi.
Oh, okay.
Oh, was he actually
No.
gold or?
Torn.
Kind of bland.
Giant koi fish.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Oh,
It's a fish that's common in my land.
Isn't that a fish that knows things but won't tell you?
Wait, so I looked like a fish from wherever you's from, but I got changed it over here. Wait, how does that make sense? Should I be like a fish you find around here, like bass? Maybe a catfish? Will
I
that
see
make
you more
more
as a
sense?
salmon.
I mean, it wasn't river.
I was actually picturing more like a salmon or a really big trout, but
Nope.
you know.
No, he was a big round fish. You know, for long, just a big
So
carp-like.
is it the full moon, or do fish change on
Just
a different
colorful carp.
cycle?
Oh, it has to do with magic water. Obviously.
Have you tried the water here?
You have magic fish water?
No, it's just that
No.
we came across some we was traveling, right? And we come up to this land. It's kind of like this, where, you know, it was really cold, but got a lot warmer. And there was this tree with this crazy old man up in it. Kind of like the crazy old man we saw earlier that disappeared. Only this
Oh
one
yeah.
didn't disappear.
If I were you, anybody that bathed in the cold, or should be in the hot springs, I'd be a little concerned that you might turn into a crawdad, because the last time we were in a place like this, if you bathed in the water or drank it, you started turning into a fish, and because it had fish.
You gotta, like, at first you look a little worried, like, you're just messing with me, aren't you?
I don't know. I
No.
want to see him turn into a fish again. Why are you going into the water?
Well, I already bathed recently. I only have to do that when I smell bad. That's contractual. And,
You have a contract to bathe.
yeah.
Did you exercise?
Why?
Well, on account that's how I was gonna get Farhad from just taking off his underoos anytime he was around river over there.
Looks at Farhad. Farhad's
I'm prettier than you.
Karn mutters on his breath. And because he didn't take a bath and stunk. I see.
But
Very
see,
interesting.
our other friend, he turned into a fish as well, but he was a gnome, shorter than me, and he was a smaller fish.
Oh yeah, much more.
Which one bit the other one?
No, neither bit. I don't know. They might have bit each other. They were underwater by themselves for a while.
No, I ate a couple of bugs though. They didn't want to. Just kind of. They ate a bug. So, of course, when I think about it, I mean, those little crawdaddy things, they look a lot like bugs, just kind of bigger. So, I mean,
I waded through the water and I noticed I was starting to get a little scaly on my legs.
Karn gets up quickly and goes into the tent very abruptly.
He doesn't like the story.
Wait, was it talking about the crawfish looking like bugs? I think he's a delicate one.
Is he afraid of crawfish?
Oh, man, he's afraid
Is
of
he a
bugs.
werefish?
Klaus is like, what? You guys, Karn went into there. You are a strange group.
Yeah.
No, well, we're an odd group, and we've had some strange travels.
Yeah.
But
You say this knight is afraid of crawfish?
I don't know.
I mean, he got up and ran when we were talking about crawfish.
Maybe it is language barrier. You confuse me.
if you ask Farhad, he's afraid of everything. But
Farhad nods again with a grin.
but that's just Farhad's.
We're going to make a play
experience.
about him with coconuts.
But we figured out that if you traveled far enough upstream, the fresh water that wasn't magical there would turn you back into your original form.
Anything pivotal any of you want to cover? Because we're about to go to a break.
Nope.
No.
Okay, River?
I'm good.
Okay, so all of you going to go do your shifts, do your watch, do all that stuff for the night. Great, you'll do your watch. The watch will be uneventful, except that it's eerily quiet. No eyes from across the road at all.
Oh, that's nice.
None of you like. Remember how on the east side of the road you always heard all those strange animal sounds? Haven't heard any of that this whole time. No sign
How
of
long were
anything
we
from the east
traveling
side.
through that area?
Through what area?
The road with
From
the,
when you left the Druid's Gate?
No,
from
before the
the
Druid's
Vista
Gate.
Court to the Druid's Gate. That was 3 days?
A number of days, yeah, quite a few days. I think it was more than 3 days,
5 days?
something like that. It was
Okay, a
it was
week
quite a
travel.
few days. Yeah, not quite a week, but yeah, it was 3 to 5 days.
So I'm over that, but I've got my own.
Yeah,
issues
but
now.
this inversion, because you were hearing the creatures when you left the Druid's Gate, and then you got to this bubble, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so during the night,
Okay, so we're still hearing it.
not
north.
since you've been in this bubble. Yeah, once you went
Okay.
north, it was there, but as soon as you hit this bubble, nothing. So the morning comes about, clear, cold in the bubble. Around you, still blizzard. And in fact, outside of the bubble, you can see the snow is over 3 feet deep now. Instead of 2 feet,
Huh.
which
We
you'll
have
be
to
walking
climb up
into.
to get out.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a short break here, 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll be back to continue on with Heroes of the Mist.
Assemble